Well, hello again, and welcome again to another episode of Down to Earth but Heavenly Minded. And I'm your host, Rich. And remember the last time we got together, I just mentioned that I wasn't sure where I was going to go from here. We finished the book of Genesis and Exodus, and we did a recap in Exodus. And I was waiting for an email for a reply from one of the brothers in a prayer group, and he got back to me. And I had heard something that he had said, but I only caught part of it because of my bad hearing. So I wrote him an email and asked him what it was that he had said about the first five books of the Bible. And when we look at the two books we went through, the book of Genesis really speaks of God in his creation. And he created us. We didn't evolve from some lower form of life or some blob, but we were created by God, and we were created in his image and his likeness. And what that means is that we're a little different than the animals. The animals don't have a soul. God didn't breathe into their nostrils. He just created them and just gave them life just like that. They were earthly creatures, earthly creatures. And then us, we're earthly creatures, but he also breathed into our nostrils the breath of life and gave us the spirit of life, and we became living souls, living beings. And we are not only physical beings, but we're also spiritual beings, just like God. Well, and then the book of Exodus speaks of our deliverance. And then the book of Leviticus speaks of worship. We have been delivered and saved to worship God. And we are to worship him in spirit and truth. And we are to worship him with all our hearts, all our minds, all our strength, and him only. And we're not to worship any false gods, not even worship ourselves like some people do. And then we have the book of Numbers, which speaks of saved to be holy, to be like God, and to walk in holiness in this life. And Deuteronomy speaks to what we already know. We are saved to remember God's grace, God's kindness and love towards us. And while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. We're to remember all this stuff. So we take the first two books and the last two books, and sandwiched in between them is the book of Leviticus. And like I say, it speaks of worship, and it's a very important book. Now, I know there's parts of Leviticus that I'd like to just slide over. They seem to repeat, and also things that we have already heard. And it speaks of all different kinds of things like leprosy and women menstruating and things that aren't really pleasant, but they're part of life. And seeing we are going through the textbook for life, we are to take the whole counsel of God. So I decided I'm not going to skip over it. I'm going to go through the book of Leviticus. So when I first started this video, I had some trouble with my sound, first of all, and I got that corrected now. And I had some trouble with losing a connection with my browser so I could call up the scripture. That's working now, so I got Leviticus 1, the law and the burnt offerings, and that's what we're going to go through in this session. And so everything is working, so I don't have to stop now. I can just go on and we can read the text. So with that said, let's just read our scripture. Now the Lord called Moses and spoke to him from the tent of meeting, saying, Speak to the people of Israel and say to them, when any one of you brings an offering to the Lord, You shall bring your offering of the livestock from the herd or from the flock. This is, if his offering is a burnt offering from the herd, he shall offer a male without blemish. He shall bring it to the entrance of the tent of meeting, that he may be accepted before the Lord. He shall lay his hands on its head of the burnt offering, and it shall be accepted for him to make atonement for him. Then he shall kill the bull before the Lord, and Aaron's sons, the priest, shall bring the blood and throw it against the sides of the altar. Then that is at the entrance of the tent of meeting. Then we shall fillet the burnt offerings and cut it into pieces, and the sons of Aaron and the priest shall put fire on the altar and arrange the wood on the fire. And Aaron's sons, the priest, shall arrange the pieces, the head and its fat, on the wood that is on the fire on the altar. But the intells and the legs he shall wash with water, and the priest shall burn all of it on the altar as a burnt offering, a food offering, with the pleasing aroma to the Lord. If his gift is a burnt offering, it is from the flock, then the sheep or goat he has shall bring a male without blemish in both cases, and he shall kill it on the north side of the altar before the Lord. And Aaron's son, the priest, shall throw the blood against the sides of the altar, and he shall cut it in pieces with the head and the fat, and the priest shall arrange them on the wood that is on the fire of the altar. But the intells and the legs he shall wash with water, and the priest shall offer all of it and burn it on the altar. And it is a burnt offering for food offering, with its pleasant aroma to the Lord. If his offering is to the Lord is a burnt offering of a bird, then he shall bring his offering, a turtle dove or a pigeon, and the priest shall bring it to the altar and wring off its head and burn it on the altar. Its blood shall be drained out on the side of the altar, and it shall remove its crop with its content and cast it beside the altar on the east side in the place of the ashes. He shall tear it open by its wings and wings, but shall not sever it completely. And the priest shall burn it on the altar, on the wood that is on the fire. It is a burnt offering, a food offering, with a pleasing aroma to the Lord. So that completes the reading of our chapter. So here we have the from the herd, from the flock, and of the bird. And they're all pretty well basically the same. They're a burnt offering to the Lord, food offering, the sweet aroma, and the blood is put on the side of the altar in all three cases. It is a burnt offering now to the Lord. And that's what this chapter is all about. So with that said, we're going to end our recording, and we will be back for chapter 2 the next time. So bye for now.